Hello everyone, it's Frances here. I just thought I'd pop the camera on and take you along on this little journey, won't be very long, 15 minutes maximum, of my decisions on doing the cover of this journal. Now this journal is going to be for sale in my Ruby Sixpence shop over on Instagram. And what it was just as you can see, a travel French book, but I loved the sort of shabbiness of the cover there. And so I reinforced the spine with a piece of card down the centre, and I've used some scrim over the top to further strengthen it. Haven't decorated the back inside cover yet, or the back. But what I have decided is, and this is book cloth here, just again to reinforce it and to keep its shape. And as I say, this is going to be a DIY journal for whoever buys it to finish it off themselves. I'm going to sew the pages in, and these are the pages all ready to go. Lots of them. Mostly old and vintage, with some digitals amongst them. And the digitals I've been using for this journal, or will be using for this journal, are all from the paper cameo, the lovely Nicola. Hi Nicola. And her latest kit is called Florabella Backgrounds. And all these papers here are from Florabella Backgrounds. Then there's a couple here from just what she calls Florabella. Absolutely beautiful. The quality of Nicola's digitals are absolutely superb. Beautifully finished. I've also added a few from the Romance range. These. And this one here and that one there is from the Magnolia kit, but predominantly I'm going to use her latest kit, which is Florabella Backgrounds. Okay, so what I decided to do, I've cut all these digitals to size, so I printed them out to the size I wanted for the inside of the journal and for the cover, and I've just been trying several of them to see which I wanted to put on the cover. And what I've decided to do is use this one, which is part of this page. Okay, so I've just literally cut it in half and used the half with the frame. The other half, which is this bit, so it was attached like that, I have actually put on the inside cover. And what I did, I took my craft knife and I cut just down the edge of here to make it into a pocket, like that. Okay, so I can put things within it. But that's going to be up to the buyer. I will provide all the bits and pieces. The pages will be sewn in, and then there will be a bundle of things for you to stamp your own choices and identity on the book. So let's go back to this. So I have decided that this is going on here. Now I didn't want it to overlap this little bit here, because it's a nice straight edge, it's well glued down. So I've cut this piece to fit exactly on here with just a really tiny little smidgen, great name, great word, of space around it. So there's hardly anything left around it. So that's what I'm going to do on there. I'm not going to glue it on there, just in case I decide I want to put some lace or something behind it. So I'm just going to pop that there. Now, I don't want to do it exactly as it is. What I wanted to do is this journal, I'm thinking that the bundle that goes with it will be just some pictures of beautiful ladies. Hang on, there is one here somewhere. She says, hopefully. Yeah, so beautiful ladies and flowers. So, I mean, what more could one ask? So that's what's going to be the theme. So I thought I would put some flowers on here. Now, I didn't want to put paper flowers. I wanted sort of a bit of a 3D effect. So although I do have one of those wooden flower presses, which I use regularly, occasionally I just take out a few flowers from the press to use and keep on my desk so I can use. And although you can see bluebells and Alchemilla mollis, and there's a hydrangea there, bluebells, as I said, cowslip, I wanted something delicate, and I had just a couple of forget-me-nots. So I decided to use a forget-me-not and also a piece of the Alchemilla mollis, like that. Okay, so those are the two I'm going to use. Now, surprisingly, they do glue very well, but you do have to be quite careful. So first of all, just get them to size. I'm going to cut that off like that, get that out of the way. So those two are going to go on like that, or very similar to that. I think I'll put that one down first, being the biggest one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, it's art glitter glue, because things like Fabri-Tac or glue stick will actually, Fabri-Tac is much too heavy for something as delicate as this. Glue stick will only pull the petals and stem apart. So I'm using this, but I've decanted it into a smaller pot here because it's softer. And without going into detail, I do have dodgy hands and the strength is failing a bit, so I need to be able to squeeze the bottle easily, and that's what this one is for. And it's got a fine nib as well, so I'm taking the nib off and I tuck it down in there so I don't lose it. Sorry, not the nib, the stopper. And then I'm going to very gently put a tiny little bit of glue. That's almost too much on the edges of the pressed flower. You can always add to it, but you can't take it away, so as little as possible. Probably find that even this is too much. Not have to worry too much about the stem because you'll see why later. So this is going to go somewhere like that. Too much glue here, as you can see. But if you gently, whatever you do, don't rub it. What you're doing is just tapping it very gently. Okay. That's still a weeny bit too long, so I'm just going to take off a little bit of that bottom. She says, hopefully. There we go. Now, once this is dry, you'll be surprised how robust it is. And you could always put some acetate over the top if you wished. I'm just going to get my old glue book a minute, just so I've got something to hold on to. Now this is a little bit easier because these have got the tiny little leafy petally bits coming out the side, so you've actually got something to aim at. Be very, very gentle. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of that off. See, this one didn't get much glue, so I'm going to put a tiny bit more on. Concentration. Silence. Okay, now that will dry. But what I'm going to do is, and I got this inspiration from one of the other digitals in the kit. I think it was this one. Yes, it was. Nicola put some faux tape on here, on the digital, obviously. And I thought, oh, I've got some of that. So I decided that, you know, when you look at flower, what do you call them? Like the herbarium. Oh gosh, what's the name for them? Oh, you're probably all shouting at me. But anyway, if this were a herbarium picture, it may well have some tape across it to secure the specimen down. So here I keep this little envelope with tape in it, and this tape is tape that I've rescued from parcels, old envelopes, whatever. But sometimes, and for instance, that bit, I make my own as well. That bit, I make my own. Now, I have done a tutorial on that in the past, and you may have seen it, but if you would like to see it again, just leave a message down below. So yes, what I'm going to do is just put a few little bits of tape across it, as it would be if it were a herbarium specimen. That was the word I was looking for. Okay, so I only want some tiny pieces, and I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm going to use this piece here. And I'm going to cut it down quite finely. So I'm going to take a tiny little sliver like that. Put it on there so you can see it. And literally it's going to be, oops, so tiny. Just clearing my nozzle of my glue. And then that is just going to go over like that. I think I'll put one more piece maybe at the top. Again, it's got to be very thin because it's such a delicate little flower. You can hardly see it. So put a little bit of glue, bead of glue all the way along. And I'm going to put this one across this bit. Okay. Gently tamp off the excess glue. As I say, don't rub it. Okay, so that's what we have at the moment. Okay, let's move that to one side. Now, this will eventually, let me just move these bits. This will be attached to the front of the journal. And as I say, one could easily put a piece of acetate over the top to protect it. But as I say, it does turn out to be quite robust. You could easily put a little piece of very, very fine netting. This is a veil netting. This is all I've got left now of a really long scarf, so that could go over. But I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. But what I might do is add a little specimen label to it. I've got lots here. For instance, that one's too big, too heavy. That one's not too bad, it's quite dark. That one's not dark enough. So it might be something like that. I noticed that it's got a little bit of white on the corner, so I'm just going to rip that bit off, make it a little bit more tatty, so it's sort of old and been kept in a scrumpled tin for a long time. So scrunch it up. Then I will use some vintage photo just to give it a bit of distressed colour around the edges, like it has been, as I say, stored in a little tin or a box or something for a lot of its life. Yeah. And I'm not going to glue right to the edges of this label because I do want it to stand a little bit proud, almost as though it's lifting up, you know, that it's been on here ages and it's decided to move. So let's find my bone folder. Give it a little bit of a burnish, but I'm going to scrunch up the edges like this. Okay, so then I think I'm going to be happy enough to glue that on. I may actually put a book plate on here, I'm not 100% sure yet. Hang on one moment, I'll see if I've got any. Okay, I'm back. Yes, I've got some book plates here. Now, those are obviously far too big. These are much smaller, so these may be the ones. Yeah, so I may, not 100% sure yet, because I don't really want to cover up that bit, so I may not put one on. But anyway, that will be up to the person who eventually gets this journal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue it down. And this time I am going to go right to the edge using the same glue, which is the Art Letter glue. which has brilliant sticking power. Plenty of glue, because bearing in mind it is a cover. And then carefully place it on. As I say, it's just a smidgen under the size of the cover. Just burnish the edges. Obviously, don't go over the dried flowers yet because they are not dry. Okay. There we are. So that is the front of the journal. So my next step will be to sew in these two signatures. There's plenty of writing space. There's some French documents. There's some ledger. There's some digitals, religious pieces, brown paper, lots of old bits and pieces, French agenda, some script. So yes, that is one signature, that's the other signature, and they will both be sewn into this spine, and it'll be ready to go to its new owner. As I said, it will come with a bundle for you or whoever to do what you wish with it. Okay, thanks for watching this little tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything you need to know, just message me. And if you did want to know, again, how to make this faux distressed tape, then just ask me. Thanks then. Bye from me.